We are now ready to cover the final topic in this section of the course, that of recovering documents. So let's start Word and open up Document. As we cover the topic of recovering unsaved documents, we should first become familiar with Word's Autosave function and how to set up the frequency to which we want Word to automatically save open documents when they haven't been manually saved by the user with the Save or Save As command. Under the Options item on the File tab menu, we get to set the default parameters for Word features and functions, default parameters to be used whenever Word is started and which will govern how Word will behave with the various functions or features. The Autosave function is one of the features we get to set the parameters for within Word, which will govern how Word will operate when we autosave for document recovery. The Word Options window is displayed when we click the Options item on the File tab menu. You will now see how we instruct Word, how often, or in what intervals we want it to autosave open documents, in the event we haven't instructed Word manually to save a document, so that if something happens, such as a system failure, document crash, power failure, or anything that causes our document to not be saved by us manually, giving Word the instruction to save it, we will also learn how to access an autosaved version of our document by using the Manage option under the File tab's Info option. So let's go to the File tab and look on the left panel toward the bottom of the File tab menu. Here, where you see the pointer is currently, where it says Options. Let's click here. Now, when we click on Options, we get the Word Options window, which gives us the various features and functions of Word for which we can set parameters. When we set these parameters here in the Word Options window, they will govern how Word behaves when these features and functions are executed after we click OK. As you can see, some of the features and functions which you can set or change the behavior of are categorized under General, Display, Proofing, Save, Language, and Advanced. You can even set parameters that will govern the contents of the ribbon or quick access toolbar, as well as add-ins to the Word program. Let's click on the Save option on the left pane of the Word Options window, as I'm doing here. Now, when we click on the Save option, we get the various save features on the right pane, which we can set parameters for that will govern the behavior of Word's save functions. You see here on this panel that we have an option we can set which will govern how many minutes auto recovery information will be saved. The default to which is, as you can see, every 10 minutes. So in other words, our document will retain auto recovery information every 10 minutes. In effect, making an autosave version which we can access at that interval in the event we haven't saved our document in the meantime, or if a situation occurs that causes our document to not be saved by us manually, such as computer failure, or document crash, or even power failure. Let's set the auto recovery interval now to 1 minute by clicking on the down pointing arrow where the parameter is currently set to 10, as I'm doing here, and click OK to immediately put that setting into effect. We are then returned to the document editing screen, and Word will now, from this point on, govern the autosave function accordingly, as we've set it, with 1 minute intervals. Now I will show you how you can access an autosave interval of a document, but before I go forward, I will be making changes to the document in the text area for the next 2 or 3 minutes to demonstrate Word's autosave feature at work. So we have already instructed Word to perform autosaves for recovery after every 1 minute interval, if we haven't saved our document and modifications were made to it. This means that every time we have made a change to the document and haven't manually saved it after 1 minute has passed, Word will save an autosaved version of the document at the state it is in at that very instant, which will later be available for recovery in that state through using the Manage File feature of the File tab's Info option, as we shall see. At this point, approximately 1 minute has passed, and therefore, we should already have an auto-saved version of the state of the document as I've been continually modifying it. So, if we continue to make edits for, let's say, 10 minutes and don't perform a manual save, after those 10 minutes, Word will have automatically performed 10 autosaves of our document as we're editing. Each autosave performed in 1 minute intervals, saving the document as it is in the text area at each interval. The autosaved document will then be available on the Backstage view under the Info Options Manage Document feature, where autosaved versions of the document will be listed and able to be recovered into the text area in the event of unforeseen error during an editing procedure, system crash, or failure. Now it's been several minutes, and we will now go to the Backstage view of the document and take a look at the Manage Document area of the Info option on the File tab to see the number of autosaves Word has performed in our document since we haven't last manually saved it. And then we will see how we can recover our document at any one of the available autosaved states. So let's click the File tab, and when we click the File tab, we get the Info option highlighted already on the left pane of the Backstage view. Now take a look at the right panel on the left pane, where you have the various features for the Info option. And at the bottom you see here, where the pointer is, the Manage Document feature, and note, it says Manage Documents, Check in, check out, and recover unsaved documents. Then, below that, you see a list of the autosave states of the document, indicating when those autosaves were made and at what time they were made. You can see that here, the current document was autosaved today several times within the last few minutes. Now, in order to open any one of the autosaved versions of the document, you just click on the one you want to open, and it will be opened in a window of its own and will be in the text area, as we will demonstrate here. So, I click on the first autosaved version, and as you see, it is opened in the text area and recovered for review, resaving, or continued editing from the point it was autosaved. You can distinguish the version of the document and tell that we are in an autosaved version by looking at the title bar above, as you see here. Here you see that in the title bar, Word has given the autosaved document opened in the text area the same name as its original file, with the addition of .asd and the time of the autosave added to the file name. The .asd indicates that the Word document is an autosaved version in the text area. Now that we have our autosaved version at the particular time we want recovered and in the text area, let's note that in the title bar, in parentheses at the end of the file name, it indicates that the document is read-only. This means that at this point we cannot make any changes to the document. In order to make changes to the document, we must first instruct Word that we want to enable editing of the document. If you notice, now, by looking at the tabs available on the ribbon, there are fewer. And this is because our document is in a read-only status, making the other editing functions and the tabs we normally see on the ribbon unavailable. If we click now on the View tab, which is available in a read-only document, we see that we get an option to enable editing of the document. And when we click on Enable Editing, as you see I'm doing here, we get the normal ribbon and all the tabs we are accustomed to seeing. And we are also now able to edit our document. At this point, we can now use the Save As feature to save our document as a new document or switch to the window with the version we were editing, close it, and then update that file name using the Save As function with the recovered document, replacing the contents of the file name on disk presently with the contents of the recovered document in our text area by overwriting it. You've seen previously the dialog box when you try to use Save As with a file name that already exists, as you see I'm demonstrating. We have now stored to disk the document we had been editing back to the state it was in when we recovered it with the Autosave version of the file with the time we chose. This covers the Autosave function of Word 2016. And one thing to note is that if you watch as I demonstrate, when you go to the File tab and access the Manage feature on the Info option and click on Manage Document, whether or not there are auto-saved versions of the document in the text area available, when you click on Manage Document, as you see here, you get a browse window listing all of the .asd files or auto-saved files which have been stored in the autosave location parameter indicated in the Word option window we showed you earlier. The last thing to demonstrate to you concerning recovering files is how Word behaves in the event of system failure, crash of the Word program or document, or any situation that causes Word to abnormally end without your document being saved, no matter the autosave setting or its interval. In order to do this, I will have to simulate an abnormal end of the Word program. I'll be simulating a system failure, a crash of the Word program or document. Watch as I use the Windows Task Manager to force an end of the Word application unexpectedly by the program. Remember, I'm doing this while we have several documents open. Also, I have to simulate that changes have not been saved to the documents open as well, or Word will not have reason to indicate there are documents available for recovery. It will just close them, knowing it's okay because they haven't been modified. So, I'll quickly make changes to the documents we have opened by switching to them. I'll now go to the Start icon on the taskbar and type in the Search Program and Files box at the bottom, here where you see the magnifying glass icon, Task Manager, to instruct Windows to start the Task Manager program, which will allow me to forcibly end the Word program prematurely, simulating an abnormal end. So when Task Manager comes up, I click on the Word icons, and then I click on End Task. And as you see, the Word program is forcibly ended, as if we had to turn the machine off suddenly, or a power failure occurred, as far as the program knows, with modified documents opened. Now, to see how Word behaves and what we do in a situation such as an abnormal end to the program with modified documents open in the text area, let's restart Word by clicking on the Word 2016 icon. Okay, now we have restarted Word after a simulated system crash or failure. Take a look now at the Recent Files panel on the left pane and take note that Word is indicating at the top of the Recent Files panel, Recovered, and that there are documents available to be recovered. And below that indication is a folder icon option indicating Show Documents Available for Recovery. Let's click on the Show Documents Available for Recovery icon, and when we do so, Word opens with a blank document in the text area. But to the left in a pane, we have a list of files that are available to be recovered. Note, as you see here, each file has, to the right of it, a down-pointing arrowhead. And when we click on that down-pointing arrowhead, we get the option to open the recovered document or save the recovered document. You also see that you have an option to delete the file as well. If we click on Open, the document will be opened in the text area, as you see here, at which point we can review and continue editing and then save the document. And also, again here, when I click on the down-pointing arrowhead and click Save, you see that I get the option to save the document that has been recovered. At the bottom of this pane of available files to be recovered, I have an option to close the Recovered Files pane altogether and continue by ignoring the option to recover any of the documents by clicking on Close. We have now completed our Section 2 of the course, Creating, Saving, and Working with Files, and you now have a thorough understanding of working with files in Word 2016, how we do everything to a file that we don't do in the file by using the various features available to us with the options on the Backstage View of the File tab. This section, as well as Section 1, where you learned about the Word environment, together should have prepared you to be able to continue on and follow through with the rest of the course, where we from this point on will be focusing mainly on doing everything we do to a file that we do in the file, specifically that of editing, formatting, and setting up our document, using the various features and commands we've already had some exposure to on the ribbon earlier on the course. You are now ready for the next section of the course, which we will be instructing in using the basic editing features of Word to revise and prepare documents. You may want to replay and review the various segments of this section of the course to fully digest the various aspects of working with files. When used properly, Word's document file creation, manipulation, and maintenance options can be very powerful and effective when understood and well under one's belt. When you are ready, continue on with us as we go forward to explore the power of Word in word processing documents as we begin to do the things to a file that we do in the file. This concludes this segment of the course.